Sports Talk Show. Mike and D, grab the mics, let's go. Mike and D, Sports Talk Show. Mike and D, grab the mics, let's go.
Can I get a parlay? That's money in the bank. That's sports talk. That's a confetti parade. From football
What
to
is up, everybody? We have a great show for you this week. We have coaches on a hot seat, things you shouldn't order at a restaurant, and the most disliked players in the NFL. This is the Casual Sports Show with Mike and D. Mike, we're going to start off with a new segment here. The internet's a wild place, man. I've joined Blue Sky, which is the new Twitter. I'm trying to get more acclimated with Twitter. Blue Sky is like the you remember when like the liberals took over Twitter, then the conservatives opened Truth Social, and it was like some sideshow bullshit. Well, now that like Elon Musk runs Twitter, liberal people have started Blue Sky, so it's a whole new social media thing. But it's just as bullshit as Twitter. They're all bullshit. The internet's just a toxic place.
That's it.
So, but I want to start a new segment. Mike, you got to come get your boy, okay?
I got to come get him.
You got to come get. Your first boy you got to come get is Kayvon Ojutari, who has a trade idea for us, Mike, here. It's the Jets get quarterback Daniel Jones and a second-round pick, and the Giants get Sauce Gardner. He says Danny Dimes can be the successor to Aaron Rodgers, and then the Giants fill a cornerback need. Mike, you buying this bullshit?
He needs to be drug tested. I mean, he needs to be drug tested. Ain't no way in hell that Sauce Gardner's ever getting traded for Danny Dimes. I mean, that is just never going to happen. That Daniel Jones may not start an NFL game the rest of his career. He's been benched for Danny DeVito, aka what was his name? What were they calling him last year?
Mario Brothers.
He's known in the New York landscape of having the mob agent, and I don't know, man. I just think that Danny Dimes thing has run its course. There's no way that trade even makes logical sense. None.
But Mike, the rumor is they're getting rid of Aaron Rodgers. Where else do you go than Danny Dimes? It feels like the next, if you're destroying your organization, right, from the inside out. Yeah, Danny Dimes is the savior, correct?
I'm getting like into the New York train system, and I'm pulling somebody from there before I'm going Danny Dimes. I'll tell you that. I ain't going there. I ain't doing that.
Guys. Mike, I love Aaron Rodgers, and not for the reasons most people do. I just think he's a very weird dude. I like weird dudes. I think they're interesting people who will say whatever they think. I like that. But it's got to be a rough day right now for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he literally came into this organization and caused an implosion. Yeah. People don't have jobs anymore because of Aaron Rodgers. The general managers getting fired. There's like, how do you explain this? Sets them back like 5 years, right? Like this, if they start rebuilding right now, it's what Rodgers has like a dead cap, doesn't he? Like there are problems. I feel like they have to stick with Aaron Rodgers if he's willing to stay for at least one more year.
It's going to be interesting, right? I mean, you would think that they're going to be probably top 5 in the draft this year. And then that kind of leads the question, like, where do you go? Because, like, defensively, they're pretty solid. So I don't know if you're going to pull from that side. Offensively, you could probably go like an offensive lineman, possibly. Receiver, I mean, they've kind of dipped their toe in that. You would think the logical thing would be to draft a top 5 quarterback and just have them in waiting. I mean, that seems to be, but then it's like, okay, well, is it really a good situation to bring a rookie into and possibly ask him to maybe take over if Rodgers decides to retire? Because it doesn't look like he's really enjoying the game right now. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't seem like he's got that twinkle in his eye right now.
But we've seen this team minus Aaron Rodgers last year with Zach Wilson. We've seen the young top 5 quarter. Like, I don't know. Here's my issue, Mike. If they don't shut it down, if they don't completely pull these guys out, isn't this the kind of team that fucks around and wins 3 or 4 more games and is just a middle of the pack draft pick? They're not going to get that top 5 unless they shut it down. This feels like the type of team that once all the pressure is gone, they're going to win, 4 or 5 bullshit games and put them. I feel like you got to shut it down. You got to turn the engines off then.
I honestly don't think they're capable of winning 4 more.
Oh, you
games.
don't think so? Really?
I don't. I mean, was it the last 2 weeks that they've had games? I mean, they had the Cardinals, and then who did they just lose to this week? I can't remember who they played. Colts. The Colts. I mean, those were 2 games that, you probably should. Yeah. I mean, you probably should have picked those up. So I don't. I mean, in your division,
can't get the rest of them.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe they pull off 2, but they're going to be a top 5.
Okay.
Pick team. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Mike, I need you to come get your boy, Darren DuPont, because he's out here making fun of the Grey Cup trophy that I don't know this dude's name, and Canadian football is not big for me, but he says, to be honest, I thought this was a souvenir trophy for the little girl, not the Grey Cup MVP trophy. Mike, can we not get this guy a bigger trophy?
I mean, you should. But I mean, then again, it's the CFL, so I don't know what their budget is. I mean
that thing's got to cost $49 on Amazon.
Yeah, they picked it up. Yeah, they picked it up at like the local hobby store or something. I don't know. I mean, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I mean, for somebody that balled out and won a championship, that seems to be kind of like a slap in the face a little bit. Hey, here's a little. It almost seems like a participation trophy.
That's what you get for like playing Pop Warner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
not a good look.
I get that it's the CFL, and I get that we take shits on Canadian football, but like $50 more, I feel like you get a trophy. Look, the little girl wants to take it home and play with it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks so basic and boring too. It's like, let's get some crystal or something on there. I mean, it's not it's just all black. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to it.
That's Canada for you, Mike.
Yeah, right.
Mike, come get your boy, Antonio Brown. This man's running a fool on the Twitter, the X, whatever it's called. He dropped a tweet that said, all of these sex strikes from bitches who get no dick. He was referring to Whoopi Goldberg and Rosie O'Donnell. Now, Mike, I'm going to ask you, where's he lying?
Yeah.
Where's he lying?
Listen, I think there's a lot of people that try to come get AB already. It's not going to happen. I mean, this dude is just on another stratosphere. Clearly suffering from CTE. I mean, clearly. And I think it's just gotten to a point now where like, just hey, let him do his thing. That's his lane. All right. That's another AB tweet. We're good.
So
we're
I told you I like weird people. I like people. AB's he's a good follow on Twitter. He does Cracker of the Day, Mike. Cracker of the Day. Yeah. He's got cracker. That's great. I can appreciate that kind of shit. I think it's funny.
Yep.
But I'm going to say this is one of the most insightful things that Antonio Brown has said. Nobody wants to fuck Rosie O'Donnell and Whoopi Goldberg. He's on point. They're out here putting on sex strikes, but someone's got to want to fuck you for you to go on strike. Otherwise, it's just another day for them.
I mean, listen, I ain't. Look, we got our little baddie of the day on Thursday, on Fridays. Like, you ain't gonna see these two on there. I can tell you that. You ain't gonna see them on there. They ain't crossing that line. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
On this one, I'm with Antonio Brown. I'm with you. I'm go get our boy, and we can commend him for.
I'm gonna dap him up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna dap him up. Yep.
Mike, come get your boy Taylor Ronson, who said the Cowboys season has become such a disaster that their stadium is literally crumbling and pieces of metal are flying off the roof of the building. So fitting for a franchise. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. What's going on with the Cowboys, Mike?
Listen, man. Well, obviously, like, injuries are a big part of this whole thing, but it's just what they do. It's just what they do. Like, you can never give them a high and expect them to hit that high. Like, you can't do it, right? Like, every season, they should be in the mix. I mean, the roster is there. You would think, like, they're paying people. So then it's like you start pointing fingers, right? Coaching, is it Jerry Jones? Is it, what is it? I don't have an answer at this point. I think it's a whole thing, and clearly the stadium falling apart is just a hint to say, hey, we got to blow this thing up.
I mean, but isn't it fairly simple? It's the owner. I mean, let's be realistic, right? So you have a game where the sun's shining through a window, and he blames the receiver. You knew the sun was there, son. You knew it was going to be there. Right. Like, okay, right. Hey, dipshit, just close the curtains. Not that tough. You've got metal falling off the roof of your stadium, and instead of canceling the game, you go, hey, nah, just start drilling it to the beams up there. It should be good. Why have they not opened the roof in 2 years, Mike? Just to test the son of a bitch.
I have no idea. And you're starting to get hints that Jerry Jones is Joe Biden's brother.
Dude, he's losing it.
You're starting to get hints of that. You're starting to get hints of that.
Oh, last one here, Mike. I need you to get with me here. Come get your boy. Okay. This is Adam Sheen of Mad Dog Sports Radio. He says, now, you might be getting your boy to co-sign with him because I heard you say Daniel Jones will never be given another starting quarterback job ever again. This isn't Sam Darnold. This isn't Baker Mayfield. This is the end for Daniel Jones. That's it? Just like, I mean, the Giants are bad. Is it all his fault?
Well, first of all, shout out to Mad Dog Sports Radio. I listen daily, so I love that. I love them. But man, it is it's one of those things that when you get paid the money and then you come back and you get benched the same year, that's not good, man. On a good or bad team, it's not a good look. I mean, listen, I get that you lost Saquon, but it's like, yo, you got Malik Neighbors, you got serviceable receivers. I mean, running game it's all kind of serviceable players, right? It should look a lot different than what it has. And I think there's always been the what ifs when it comes to Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. There's always every year it's like, okay. And I think it was a flash in the pan. I think it was maybe 2 years ago where they rolled into Minnesota and they beat them in the playoffs. That was a flash in the pan. I mean, that was one of those games where it's like, all right, that was a good moment, but that's not the true testament of what they are. To say that he will never start a game in the NFL again would be stupid because obviously injuries happen. I mean, we've seen Joe Flacco now in multiple years. So I'm saying, so to say he won't never start.
I think we get the sentiment, though. The sentiment is nobody's putting him under contract to be a starting quarterback. Right. I understand the sentiment there when you say, yeah, of course, right? He'll get a backup job somewhere, and if something goes wrong, that's your opportunity. But we're saying no opportunity to step in and do it again. It'll take a great set of circumstances to see Danny Dimes on the field again.
I think so.
Getting replaced by a Mario Brothers tough, man. But that whole organization is fucked, man. Like, from watching the Hard Knocks, I couldn't stand Dable, the way he sat on the couch, and he was kind of a slob to me, to the way he, like, when Malik Neighbors came in there and he kind of questioned him. It's like, dude, your team is a fucking in shambles. You'd be lucky if I come here.
Well, and it's just one of those things where it's like when you start hiring these coordinators to be head coaches, it's just some guys are just meant to be in the background as a coordinator. And I think he's one of them. I was
going to ask you that because that, to me, that's a funny thing. Is there a world where one of these teams finally gets smart enough to divvy out the money? Like, I think the head coach position is so sought after, but reality is, if you paid 3 coaches relatively equally, it's a safer circumstance. Then you get these head coaches like Dable, and it's the Peter principle. They get in over their head, like you said, and while maybe defense is your thing, maybe offense is your thing, running the whole picture is not your thing.
Right. That's not a bad strategy. But then on the flip, you look at these teams like a Kansas City where like they have a legit head coach. You look at like a Bill Belichick, he was a legit head coach. We'll go to like the college of like Deion Sanders. He's a legit head coach. Like he's a guy that is there to oversee what's happening with his team. And I think that's what you need. Enough of those
guys is the problem, right?
You
think there is?
Is there enough to take over all 32 teams? That's debatable, right? Because every year somebody's getting fired. So that's a hard question to answer. But I think there are guys out there that are capable of leading men. Like Mike Tomlin. That is a guy I would play for 100 days out of 365 days out of the year. I mean, it just, you got to get lucky, like a Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
These guys, you just got to kind of get lucky with selecting and make it's the interview process. So really, it really comes down to your ownership.
That's funny. I was just about to ask you that because I mean, this is just me bullshitting, casual fan here saying this out loud, but I'm under the belief that if I sit down to interview people, I believe that within the first 10 minutes, I'd understand Mike Tomlin's a guy, right? He's a CEO. He can run the company. Same with Detroit, with Campbell, right? You can see he brings culture, right? Whatever it is, he brings it. I feel like if I sat down with Brian Dable, pretty quickly I'd be like, yeah, I don't want this guy, like, I'm not going to turn the company over to him.
I think with the ownership of the Giants, right? So Dable came from Buffalo, and he was the quarterbacks coach with Josh Allen. So I think that's probably where they kind of were wishing or hoping.
Gotcha.
Okay, we're going to pair you with our franchise quarterback, and we're going to get this thing rolling. Gotcha. Didn't happen, you know. And I think that's mostly more of the talent of the player than it is the coach, I think.
Gotcha. All right, Mike. Let's transition over with that to our top fives this week, starting with. I need your top 5 list on coaches that potentially need to be fired.
Yeah. So number 5, just the guy we were talking about, Brian Dable from the New York Giants. Number 4, I have Zach Taylor from the Cincinnati Bengals. At number 3, I have Mike McCarthy from the Dallas Cowboys. 2, Doug Peterson from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And number 1, Matt Eberflus from the Chicago Bears.
All right, I'm going to give you my top 5 coaches that should be on the hot seat here, Mike. At number 5, I got Mike Shanahan. At number 4, I got Matt Eberflus. At number 3, I got Antonio Pierce. At number 2, I've got Zach Taylor. And at number 1, I got Mike McCarthy. So let's talk about these lists, Mike.
Okay.
So when I sat down to make my list, my main thought process was, like, with Dable, it's just a shit show there. I don't know if I can place all the blame on him. When I made my list, I was more thinking these are guys who are, to me, underachieving. Like Shanahan, right? Shanahan's been there long enough, and to me, like, he's had everything necessary to get the job done, and it's just they've never got to the final destination. You know, same with Mike McCarthy. That's the same way I feel with those guys. Zach Taylor, you had him on your list as well. I think those are guys, like, you look at Cincinnati's roster, there's no reason they should be in the position they are in. And I think a little bit of that is coaching and culture. Like with Cincinnati, I think there's a culture issue.
Yeah. I think ultimately what it is, I just don't think as a whole it's come together, right? Like, I think each of the couple seasons that Joe Burrow's been in the league, they've started out 0-2 or worse. Now, granted, they made it to the Super Bowl one of those years, which, I think has given Zach Taylor that leeway.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think after a season like this one, where you got Jamar Chase holding out all training camp, that's a guy that you're going to want to try and convince to come back, and then you're having a season like this. This is not good. I mean, the defense is aging. It's just a team that should not be associated with the record that they are currently at right now. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is you look at the field, talent's there. It comes down to coaching and who's leading the coaching tree. It's going to be Taylor. Dable, I think that's just circumstantial.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy, I have no idea, man. I think he's somebody that should be let go. But I also see Jerry Jones being very loyal because he's been loyal to the last 2 head coaches that he's had. So I don't know about that one. Matt Eberflus is just, it speaks for itself. I think that just needs a whole. I mean, he's fired 3 coaches already this season.
Yeah,
it's just a mess. They need a whole reset in terms of coaching. I mean, player wise, they're fine. Coaching, they need to get the reset. Doug Peterson, it's tough because Jacksonville, I think, is talented. And I think ultimately, again, it's just one of those circumstantial things where it's like, all right, you had your shot. Now we got to try and get somebody else in here to maybe change this thing around. It was interesting that you said Antonio Pierce because he is one of those guys that I think is actually a good head coach. I just think that franchise has just effed him. I mean, no quarterback at all. They trade Derek Carr away. They're putting in, essentially dudes that should be backing up in the league.
Yeah.
You trade Devontae away. it's just I can't really blame. I mean, this is his first season as like a head. Like last year was interim. This
Yeah.
year's his first year as the actual. I think you got to let that sit a little bit. But other than that, I don't think I had really any disagreement with your list.
Sure, sure.
You know,
The Antonio Pierce to me is a little bit of what you touched on. Is I feel like when you let a guy like Devontae Adams leave, I would love to know what that conversation. Like I feel like Antonio Pierce as a coach, that's your job to sit him down and get him to buy in and go, look, yes, this is bullshit right now, but stick with me. We're gonna get to the promised land here. When you let a guy like Devontae walk out the door, man, there's a lot of rebuilding that has to happen. Now, I know Brock Bowers is looking good and they look good. That's the only reason I put the blame a little bit on Antonio Pierce, but I agree with the rest of that. The other question I have is with Zach Taylor. You think the Bengals Super Bowl window's closed?
No, it's not closed.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, as long as you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, no, it's never closed.
It just
never
to
closed.
me, it feels. I said culture. They just don't look like they're having fun. And when you're losing, it's not fun. I know, but I read the body language of like Chase. He doesn't look like he's having fun.
I think that's more so. He's just. I think he wants to get paid.
Okay.
He's balling out right now under a contract that he doesn't want. I mean, he really doesn't have a choice. Honestly, at this point, I think the Bengals could be changed fairly quickly.
Okay.
If you get the right guy in there, you've got the talent on offense. I think you just need to get a couple pass rushers on defense, and you're cooking again. Now, the downside is the division that they're in.
True.
That's hard to deal with. But I think that could be a quick turnaround.
Gotcha. All right, let me reload this mic. Next thing we're gonna do here is the top 5 most unlikable players in the NFL. I'll give you mine first, starting with Baker Mayfield at number 5, Dak Prescott at number 4, Travis Kelce at number 3, Harrison Butker at number 2, and Deshaun Watson at number 1. Mike, let me reload it, and you give me your top 5.
At number 5, we have the TikTok dancer Juju Smith-Schuster. At number 4, we have Patrick Mahomes. At number 3, we have Travis Kelce. Number 2, we have Aaron Rodgers. And number 1, I think this would be unanimous across the board, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I think Deshaun's the simple number 1. You fucking do everything you did, come back, get all that money, and then it just looks like you don't care. Like it looks.
He doesn't.
Really,
he doesn't.
You got your paycheck. Man, that is going to be an interesting 30 for 30 when that all finally comes out, what the story was and how that came to be.
Yeah.
So much money.
And then I think a lot of people probably roll their eyes when we say Travis Kelce. Listen, man, the pop and circumstance that comes with this dude now.
Sure.
It's very like, can I say that like he's super, like he's like the top almost unlike, but like when you hear his name, you kind of do one of these like, okay, like Travis Kelce. I think it's the same with Mahomes, right? Like I think it's kind of a fatigue thing, right? Like we see him all the time and he's winning. and we love to hate the guys that continue to win all the time.
Exactly right.
And then with my Juju Smith-Schuster, I just think he's one of those like weird cats that he's easy to hate, right? Like just dancing on the field all the time. Like just I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Enjoying life too much.
Yeah. So I would say those are probably my 5.
I'm with
Aaron Rodgers.
Juju's simple. Yeah. I'm with you. I agree. He's just that guy that you roll your eyes. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop dancing.
Right.
You shouldn't know every TikTok dance. Come on, man. Mahomes and Kelce. I had Kelce on my list. I agree. You win long enough, you become the villain. And then I think with Kelce, it doubles down to Taylor Swift stuff. Because I mean, ultimately, Kelce's not that dislikable. Like the football player Travis Kelce is actually, his podcast is fun. It is just the circumstance of like he's won so long that he people are a little tired of him. And then the Taylor Swift stuff. Mahomes, I agree with you.
Fatigue,
It's just fatigue because he's actually likable too. I think he's a pretty standard guy. You have Aaron Rodgers on there. I think that's simple. Like He's polarizing, and then, like we said, you go into the biggest media market in the world, and you destroy a franchise from the inside out.
Yep.
You've made a lot of enemies. Like, there's a lot of people who are going to be upset with you. I had Baker Mayfield. I just think I love Baker Mayfield, but he's just he just rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I think he gets on people's good side, and then he gets a little cocky. He gets a little. I think if he's on your team, you love him.
Yeah.
And I think if he's not on your team, a lot of people dislike him, especially from the Oklahoma stuff and all the shit he did in college. I think that carries over. Dak Prescott is just, I think if you're the Cowboys quarterback, people are going to dislike you. And if you're the Cowboys quarterback and you don't get the job done, then even the Cowboy fans don't like you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And then Harrison Butker was just, I mean.
Yeah, he's out of pocket.
You take a stance. You got to live with that stance. Whether you agree or don't agree. Like I say a lot of times, just stay right in the middle of the road. It's the safest place to be. I'm telling you, man. Don't plant your flag down. Once you're done playing, that's fine. Plant your flag down. Let everybody know how you feel. While you're playing, while you're part of a team, it's not, people always go, it's the shut the fuck up and dribble. It's not. It's just 50% of the Chiefs fans probably agree with you. 50% don't agree with you. So it's lose-lose.
Yeah.
Just abstain from comment. I got no comment. I'm not taking a side here.
I'm so much of a like introverted, like private guy that like I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine doing stuff like that.
His beliefs are his beliefs. More power to
him.
Right. Why? I'm with you. Why do you got to make that like a soapbox that you're gonna die on?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Just let it be you, and you live your life.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
All right, let's run to our third top 5 list this week, which is this is my favorite one here.
This is a good one.
The top 5 things you refuse to order at a restaurant. I'm gonna let you start first, Mike.
So my number 5 is freshly squeezed orange juice.
Love it.
Number 4, the special of the day. Number 3, any salad bar option.
Love it.
Number 2, ordering fish on a Monday.
You're going to have to explain that to me.
And number 1, chicken that's anything but a wing.
That's shots fired right there. Chicken, anything that's not a wing. All right, let me drop my top 5 for you, then we'll talk about it here. All right, my top 5 things I would never order at a restaurant, starting with number 5, is anything with pumpkin. Just not doing it. I don't do pumpkin. Pumpkin spice, pumpkin pie. I'm not a pumpkin guy. Number 4, Shirley Temple. It's just gay. You just can't. You can't order a Shirley Temple. You can't be a grown man and order a Shirley Temple. I'm sorry. It's just you just can't do it. Can't do it. Number 3 is any dessert that is like lit on fire or sparkles or sprinkles or like has fanfare. Don't bring that to me. I don't want that.
Okay.
Number 2, a well done steak. Sorry. No, I don't need a piece of jerky. And my number 1 is something I won't order at a restaurant is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's home food.
Okay.
Don't let me catch you eating that in a public restaurant. So let's talk about these lists, Mike. Let's
do it. Let's do it.
I love your list, by the way. You embodied the spirit of everything I wanted this list to be. When I saw what you sent to me, I was like, he got it. He fucking got it. Salad bar. Don't order the salad bar.
No, I mean, listen, like freshly squeezed orange juice, right? So it comes down to 2 things, right? How are you squeezing it? Mm-hmm. Because more times than not, I feel like probably using your hands. Sure. So are you wearing gloves? Sure. Are you wearing gloves? Mm-hmm. Secondly, how much pulp is getting into this? Sure. I'm not a pulp guy. I'm not a pulp. I don't know about you, but I'm not. I don't want you know what I mean?
Of fucking shit in my drink.
No, like just give me it out the carton, man. I'm good. I'm chilling. Yeah. Number 4, the special of the day. Typically, that is made concocted stuff that they have left over from meals of the. Yeah. It's like, what are we really eating here?
Yeah, it's not on the menu. It wasn't good enough to get a residency on the menu.
They'll come up with a fancy name and like they'll sell it to you, but it's like that's really like steak from like 3 days ago that we couldn't. I'm good. Yeah. I'm chilling. Yeah. I'm chilling. What else I got on here? The salad bar option, I think, just speaks for itself, man. Like, how long has this stuff been sitting out here? Who's been putting their hands into this stuff?
I'm
solid, man. I'm skipping on that.
I'm with you.
Fish on a Monday.
Okay, explain this to me. I don't get this.
Fish on a so typically if you're eating at a fresh seafood spot,
Okay.
fish markets are typically closed on the weekend. So
Okay.
you are probably going to be eating fish that's left over from Friday
Gotcha.
on Monday.
Gotcha.
So you got to be careful with that.
Didn't
Got to
know
be
this.
careful
Didn't
with
know this.
that.
I don't eat seafood, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, and then number one, chicken. If it's not a wing, I don't want it.
Really?
I'm doing only wing, like, because I don't trust people cooking chicken. I don't
Chicken
trust people
fried
cooking chicken.
No.
Like wings, I'm solid because I know that's getting deep fried. That it's got a
Okay.
better chance of being done and complete than like a chicken breast or a chicken. Like I'm chilling on that. I just give me the wings. That's all I need.
I'm not mad at that because more often than not, you order chicken, it's either overcooked or undercooked. It's very rare you get a good piece of chicken.
Exactly.
I get where you're going now. I didn't get it at
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
but I see where you went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, anything with pumpkin's a no-go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not
Like,
yeah.
fuck all the pumpkin, fuck all the Starbucks and shit like that. Shirley Temple self-explanatory. Like,
Yeah,
it's just. Like,
I'm not
if you
eight
need to drink
anymore.
a drink that's mixed together, get alcohol, and
Sure.
And if not, like, don't be a grown man ordering a Shirley Temple. Just don't do it. Just order
No, you
Sprite.
can't. You can't be.
Just get
Yeah,
Sprite.
yeah.
That's fine. You can drink Sprite.
Yep.
Desserts with fanfare. I don't. Like you said,
I don't need that.
introverted as well. I don't need celebration. I don't want my dessert sparking. And once again, it's the handling of it, right? You know, they're like sticking their hands in it and stuff
And
like
then
that.
and then should it catch fire? Now you're on video.
Yeah,
I don't need that.
Only
I don't
bad
need
things
that.
can happen.
I don't need that.
Yeah. Well done steak. I
Ugh.
can't, like, you know what? You can eat your steak how you like it, but well done is just too far. You've gone too far. You're paying now for bullshit at that point.
Yeah.
Let me
You're
catch
paying
you
for
order like a
lockjaw.
$49 steak well done. You just
No,
give them your money.
Yeah. No,
And then
I'm
peanut
good.
butter and jelly, to me, just
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
like
that's-
like we have a restaurant in San Antonio where they specifically do peanut butter jelly. I just will not go. Everybody's like, oh, it's so
Okay.
good. They use pineapple jelly. I'm like,
No,
I
no,
can
no.
fucking buy pineapple. Like, it's the easiest thing to make it. I'm not paying $14 for a peanut butter and jelly when I can make it for like $2 at home. Just not doing it.
No chance. You won't catch me doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that.
All right,
Solid
Mike,
lists.
let's do our pick six and get out of here. We have 6
All right.
games. You went 5-1, I believe.
I got the Steelers wrong.
Yeah, you went 5-1. I went
got the
3-3
Steelers wrong.
again, so I'm 500. I am riding this
Okay.
wave of 500. You're 28-8.
Okay.
Which phenomenal, Mike. I'm
Vegas.
so hyped about this.
Vegas.
Why,
right here, man.
why we
I'm right
weren't
here.
betting the spread? I know we can't bet the spread, but we
Yeah,
should
right,
be
right.
betting the spreads.
Yep, we should.
One
We
of us gonna
should.
have to get into a city where we can bet the spreads here because you're
Hell
on
yeah.
fire. I'm saying
We would have some money in the pocket right
we
now.
would. All these
Yeah,
prop
we
bets
would.
are bullshit. If we could just straight
Yeah.
up bet like
Yeah, we're-
win, we'd
Yeah.
be in the money.
Pulling the plug on the props. Pulling the plug.
Yeah, pull the plug for the time being. We're pulling the plug on the
Yeah.
props so we can figure out a safer way.
Yeah.
So pick six, Mike. First
Yeah, yeah.
game we got. We're back on the right schedule now. Steelers and Browns. That looks more correct to me.
Okay, so I'm going Steelers. There's nothing to discuss here.
See, I'm going Steelers. It's any team that can win without scoring touchdowns. That's a team I can get behind. You can kick
Yeah.
6 field goals and win a game.
Yeah.
Feels like Russ is going to start cooking at some point. I'm going Steelers as well.
Yeah.
All right, second game we have here is the Ravens and the Chargers.
I'm gonna go Chargers on this one. I think the Chargers are cooking a little bit the last couple weeks here. I think they got Herbert playing good. That defense is a top 5 defense. I think Lamar and them are struggling a little bit. I think this loss against Pittsburgh was a little telling. I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
So I'm actually the same reason I'm going the Chargers. Like, I know they almost shit the bed against the Bengals, but the Bengals, we both agree, are better than their record leads on to be. And I think the Bengals had desperation, and the fact that the Chargers held that off shows me that they can get it done. Same thing with the Ravens. I think they right now are kind of refiguring out who they are. So I'm going Chargers as well. We got Eagles versus the Rams.
I'm gonna go Eagles on this one because I think they're they're finding their footing here now. They've pulled off a couple here the last couple of weeks. I think the Rams. It's one of those sneaky teams. They can get you, but they gotta be hitting on all cylinders. I think Eagles are going to prevent that. I think I'm going Eagles.
We're pretty in line here. I'm not a believer in the Rams. I think they're overachieving. I think this is kind of the last ditch effort of Stafford to kind of keep the window open, but I don't believe it. I think that Saquon's going to get it going. I think Jalen's going to get it going with the division kind of opening up. I think the Eagles get it done. I think they're locked in now.
Yeah.
We got the Cowboys and the Commanders.
Ah, man. I Dallas is a mess, man. I don't think there's a chance that they. Well, I mean, there's always a chance, but I think the Commanders are just a better team right now. I'm going to go Commanders.
Okay, so point blank, Mike. This is the game the Cowboys should lose. They're going to win.
They're going to win.
This is the type of game. This is when when everything says it's time to start losing, shut it down. We need a decent draft pick. This is when the Cowboys are fucking at their. This is the glory of the Cowboys. They'll win this. They will figure it out. They will scrap, claw, fight, come together. Give me the Cowboys to beat the Commanders because why would they get a good draft pick? Why would you want that?
Right.
Let's go 8-9 or something. Let's finish off the season with some bullshit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can see it.
Let's go San Francisco and Green Bay.
San Francisco is just not. They're not San Francisco, man. And I think with Green Bay, I'm not totally sold on what's going on. But we still find a way to win games. We find a way to win games. It's at home. I think the weather up here is going to get a little nasty here towards the end of the week. That's a West Coast team. I think we pull it out. I think the Packers are going to win this game.
Yeah, give me any team blocking field goals and the way they're doing. Give me the Packers as well. Gritty. They're, like you said, just figuring out a way to win games. It feels like to me the 49ers are now the team. They have no identity. So many injuries have plagued them. It feels like this isn't the year for San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And then last but not least, we have the New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins, Mike.
This feels like a game that New England will beat the Dolphins. I feel like the Dolphins have just not been great. I know they just beat up on the Raiders, but who hasn't beat up on the Raiders? I just, I could see this just being a New England game. I could just see it being a New England game.
I get you. I'm going to go Miami. I'm going to go because I think this is make or break for Miami. I think this is Mike McDaniel, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck his name is.
McDaniel.
This is Mike McDaniel. This is job on the line. This is this is the future of Miami. I think if they lose this one, quickly they start to look inside and go, what do we need to fix? What are the problems here? I think if they win this, it buys themselves another week of, all right, we're right on the fringe. Like if we can sneak into the playoffs, we can have some hard conversations. So I'm gonna go. I think they figure it out. They got enough speed and stuff like that they can get the job done. I'm gonna go Miami there.
Okay. All right.
So that's our 6. You got anything else?
Nah, man.
What were your thoughts on Jake Paul? Your boy Jake Paul?
Oh man. Listen, man. I had such high hopes for the fight, and then the fight night comes. I'm coming home from SmackDown that night. I'm like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna turn this fight on. Can't get the damn fight on TV. I'm at 25% for an hour, so I got to get it on my phone. So now I'm already my morale's already down.
Yeah.
And then I see the entrances, and I'm like, this just seems like a circus. And then I see after round 2, Mike is just done. I mean, he's exhausted. He's just trying not to get knocked out, which I get because it's yo, as long as I don't get knocked out and I get that 20 mil, I'm chilling. Yeah. And I can't be mad at that.
It's age, man. You literally told me before the fight. You goes, it comes down to age, and I didn't want to believe it because you see the videos of Mike hitting a bag and stuff.
Yeah.
Shit, it's hard, fast, but it is imagine you. I believe you can gas out in 2 minutes. Like all
For
that
sure.
adrenaline, you go out there at 58 years old, and Mike was just like, "Yeah, oh fuck this. If I do this for 2 or 3 rounds, I'm gonna get murdered in the fifth or sixth."
Yep. And I just like the biting of the glove. That was weird. I guess that's a thing that he does, but like that's just weird to me.
Maybe frustration, maybe just not being able, like knowing. It's that weird thing. Like you think he probably sees the opening and goes, but I just can't get there.
Yeah.
That
would make sense.
Who's next for Jake then?
So there's this guy that called him out. I can't even think of his name because I'm not like super familiar with boxing, but I guess he's like the pound for pound best in the world right now.
But if I'm Jake, I'm gonna continue these gimmicks.
Yeah, but I just think at some point, there's just not going to be interest in it.
But I'm going until there's not. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of Shaquille O'Neal. You had all these celebrities there.
Yeah.
I ride until the wheels fall off because we say that, but if he pulls a Conor McGregor or somebody like that,
yeah. I mean, yeah. I just think I guess it really just comes down to like what is he trying to accomplish, right? Like is if he's just trying to just fight for the money, cool. But like if he wants to fight for like actual titles, then you got to kind of
title though. Like I feel like he's. I feel like he's probably gonna get his ass whoop when he gets in there with a legit. If Fury gave him problems, you can't. I mean, I think if he gets in there with someone who's a legitimate boxer, they're going to give him problems.
I think with Fury, seeing that came down to decision, I think that's you gotta kind of look at that. Like, all right, he lasted.
But Fury, he's not a top boxer, right?
It's not a top boxer, but I mean, he trains with one of the best boxers in the world, his brother.
True.
So
I guess that's true.
We'll see what happens. We'll see.
All right, man. That's all I got. If that's all you got, we are heading out. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All of the videos are going back to the main channel. I don't know if you saw that.
Okay.
Too much mess trying to manage 4 different channels.
Yeah.
People get it. People who watch our show understand that we talk about football, wrestling, and
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
So it's getting more interaction there anyway. So we'll put it there. But join the Discord if you haven't already. Like, share, subscribe. As always, I'm the Notorious Nerdy D. That is Milwaukee Mike, and we are out of here.